Hello and welcome to Burden of Command. Now, this is a World War II tactical RPG, very authentic, very historically accurate. So if that's something that you are interested in, you should probably take a look at it through the link in the description, add it to your Steam wishlist, and all that wonderful stuff. Now, I've been getting to grips with this. This is the demo version of the game at the moment, and I gotta say, it does have a little bit of a learning curve to it. I had to go through the tutorial. The tutorial was about an hour or so long, and it takes you through a pretty cool scenario. And then there's a bunch of other scenarios that you have available, 2 other scenarios that you have available here. And we're going to be playing Badenburg in this particular video. And I'm just going to show you some of the things that are going to go on. It's very, very cool, very authentic, and there are a lot of psychological and very impactful decisions that you can indeed make and will make, and I'll explain as we go. As you see here, while this demo does not, the final release will occasionally contain disturbing images of graphic violence intended to convey the true burden of war. So there's going to be some very heavy subjects tackled here, and as far as I'm aware, the game was indeed developed alongside a bunch of historians and actual real-life accounts of what it was actually like to be in these situations. So the psychology of the battlefield, for example, demoralizing the opponent and building respect among your troops, that is a huge impact. It's going to make a huge impact. You also do have permadeath. Obviously, as you might expect in a game like this, there is permadeath. So, for example, if you have a captain or something like that who takes a bullet, they're going to be gone. They're going to be completely gone. All right, it's 5th of October, 1944, Badenburg near the German border. White snow falls, black smoke rises, American tanks burn. 5th Armored rushed straight into heavy German fire. No arty, no machine guns, and now no tanks. Do we still advance, Captain? And then we can obviously decide on what we want to do. We can say we have our orders, I want to hear options, turn toward my remaining officers. What in mind, as you can see right here, there's also a little book that you can mouse over, which I think is actually a very nice little, what is it now? A little nice feature, a little nice improvement here. And basically, it allows you to see the historical context of what's currently going on here. So it says here, historically speaking, the weather was muddy rather than snowy, with the first real flakes falling in mid-November. But we wanted to showcase winter fighting conditions, and so we hope you will forgive our artistic flair here. So that's basically from the developers. And so I'm going to say we have our orders. We got to strike while the iron is hot, Lieutenant Wilson says. The man certainly is working hard amid his Second World War. Both platoons move up under cover, side by side, and we've got a shot. The deeper in the woods, the better it would seem, Lieutenant Dearborn notes. He is both academy trained and Virginia raised, and his voice holds a ring of certainty. If we were to make a wide turning motion against their flank, then they must yield the position. Alright, so I'm going to say we'll make a deep flanking effort, and again, once more, there's a huge amount of actual decisions that you will make if you actually play the demo. I'm not sure when the demo will be available, by the way, but if you put it on your wish list, I'm sure they'll notify you, or follow the game in general on Steam. They'll tell you everything you need to know. Otherwise, yeah. So there's a bunch of other stats that you're also going to be seeing. And these are things like sarcasm and verbosity and respect and trust and experience levels and all kinds of crazy stuff. And all these things have an impact on how people see you and how you work together with them. And you can build trust with your men, with your subordinates, and with your colleagues, and so on and so forth. And it's really going to make a huge difference to your overall success. Anyway. 5 tanks out of the 743rd had been knocked out by direct fire weapons. Their withdrawal, of course, left the infantry in a tight position. And that is from an interview. And this is indeed 2nd Lieutenant Sam Wilson, 2nd Platoon Leader. I'm going to say we'll make a deep flanking effort. Why not? They'll expect that, Captain, Wilson says. I know I would, but maybe the forest is thick enough to hide the movement. And so as you can see here, we now have 2 missions. Well, basically we have 1 mission, but obviously, basically 2 missions. We need to make sure that our men survive as much as possible. So we need to seize the objective and suffer no more than light casualties. It had originally been planned to use the tall Ubach church on the western edge of town as an OP, but the Germans shelled it heavily and lopped off the steeple and riddled the church. So unfortunately we won't be able to use that. So as you can see, this is the map. So this is basically your general strategical overview that you're going to have, and the game, as I say, is quite complex at first glance, but I'm going to do my best to give you a brief overview of what you can do. So let me just see, can I zoom in any further? No, I can't zoom in any further. Okay, that's a little bit of a shame, but whatever the case, doesn't matter. So you can see here, every single squad has a bunch of green pips next to it. Green pips are related to the amount of actions that one can take. These are basically action points, but in the game they are referred to as orders. So for example, let's say that Lieutenant Wilson uses an ability. So I'm just going to select him right here. Actually, I'm going to select Dearborn. So what we're going to do is he obviously says that we can go over here and flank these guys if we want to, or we can do something completely different and we can take Lieutenant Wilson down the road here if we so desire. But we have to be careful because the enemy has the ability to ambush you. They will ambush you. They have the ability to use Overwatch. So for those of you that are familiar with games like XCOM, Overwatch is very much present in the game, and it's not called Overwatch, but it's basically the same thing where if you move into a particular hex that is watched over by an opponent, they are going to fire at you immediately. And as I said before, morale and psychological distress is a huge factor in this game. So in other words, if you get fired upon, if your men get fired upon, they are going to suffer as a result. Even if none of them die, they're going to get suppressed. They're going to get suppressed, and that's going to be a huge problem. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to have Lieutenant Dearborn here and his squad. We're going to have them move into the trees. We have to be a little bit careful here because I'm pretty sure there are going to be some German troops in here. Now, one thing we have to do first, I'm going to just show you some of the abilities that we have available. So as I said to you before, every single troop, every single squad and captain and lieutenant and so on and so forth, they all have orders. They all have an order limit. These guys, as you can see, Dearborn and the rest of them, they all have 5 orders, which are capable of being used for a variety of factors. For example, bolster. Now, bolster, this is very much going to be scaling from a variety of different statistics. As I said, it's quite complex, quite in-depth, so I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible to understand. So bolster is basically what you want to do before you attack, right? So whenever you are doing an action, you always want to be using bolster first, most of the time. Unless you are already suppressed. If you're suppressed at some point, you probably want to do rally. Rally removes suppression and then restores the morale of units in that particular hex. So you can see that right there. And it even gives you a tooltip explaining that. So a non-leader unit must not have spent any orders this turn, so they need to be fresh to be able to be rallied. Upon being rallied, a non-leader unit's orders are all used up. So in other words, it's basically to just improve their morale and have them be capable of fighting back necessarily, or maybe even retreating in that case. Leaders pay only 1 order, freely performs the rest action for units in the hex. Okay, so there's that. And then we have leader press. So this is another thing that you can do, and this is kind of like a buff kind of thing. And this restores 1 order to a non-leader unit. A non-leader unit cannot be pressed, so they can't be tired, and a unit must be rested before it can be pressed again. So in other words, pressing them makes them tired, and then you can't use it again and again and again, obviously. They need to be rested before they can use it once more. And then, of course, you have creep. Creep is basically your sneaking action. This is kind of like stealth, and you have a reduced chance of being spotted. and this uses 2 orders every single time. And units can't be the subject of opportunity fire during this movement, which is absolutely fantastic. If you are wanting to move into a space that has not been scouted, then creep is one of the best things you can do. Unfortunately, it is going to make it so that you move really, really slowly, but we're going to be doing that. Here we go. We're just going to move in there. We're just going to move in there very, very carefully. And you can then also do this, for example. So as you see, you can do recon by fire, and you can also check range. And this may reveal hidden enemies if used to fire on seemingly empty hexes. And enemy experience reduces the chance that they're going to be revealed. This is also going to indicate the maximum range and line of sight of this unit's weaponry. So for example, as you can see right here, all I can do is the adjacent hexes. I cannot attack any further because the forest is very thick. So unfortunately for me, I won't be able to do anything more with Lieutenant Dearborn here. I might be able to use sneak or creep with these guys and actually move them into the trees here. Ah, who do we have there? What is that? That looks like an enemy squad if ever I saw one. Is that true? That looks like an enemy squad right here. I think that looks like an enemy squad. It is an uncertain enemy. Yes. Yes. Oh dear, I hope they don't see us. I hope they don't see us. Okay, so now, basically, to get control of one of the other people, you can pretty much just press space, and then you can see what happens, and then you can select someone else, and then you can move with them. And you'll see that the turn has not been completed just yet. You can press this if you so desire, but obviously I want to move the remaining portion of our forces as much as we can. Now, one thing we could do is we could move down here, and we could just go along the road if we wanted to, and I think that's probably what we'll do. So let's do that. We've secured this objective, which is exactly what we needed to do. Unfortunately, we are now being fired upon, which is somewhat bad. That is actually really bad, because now, as you can see right here, we do have a pretty significant problem. However, we can use rally, and that is going to rally us straight away. That's going to get our morale back really, really fast. And then hopefully we're going to be able to, maybe we can we move away from here? No, it doesn't seem like we can actually move away from here. This is going to be a little bit difficult. These guys have a heavy machine gun. It's going to be kind of harsh. However, we do have artillery. Artillery is potentially able to be used. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to move my captain over here, and this guy is then going to be moving into a flanking action. Hopefully we'll be able to take him with the squad over there. They are going to attempt to use a bit of an opportunity fire here as well. I was kind of hoping that they wouldn't actually be able to see us in the housing area, but they are, which is kind of annoying, but you know, that's just how it is. And let's see here. So if I rally, can I actually do that? There we go. There's the rally. We're going to get our morale there. And then we can actually move a little bit more. Yeah, that did not trigger any more opportunity attacks, so that's actually wonderful. So now we can just press on the next turn, and we can just see what happens. They're obviously going to continue firing at us, which is not exactly nice of them, but we're hopefully not going to suffer any casualties. Maybe it's too far away for them to actually be super effective, and there we go, there's the next turn. Wilson is still getting in gear, Dearborn is not in position, and the Germans are still resisting. Battalion calling in, First Sergeant Grant says, and offers over the handset. Artillery is up. Alright, so here we go. This is where we get to actually use artillery, and we need to take this objective right here. So this is going to be extremely important for us. I wonder if I can use artillery. Can I use artillery with any one of these? Yes, I can use it here. Okay, so as you can see, we now have the ability to use our 105mm. These are absolutely insane things. They can do massive damage. Unfortunately for me, however, this is not, we're not close enough to be able to use this. Huh. Is that just me, or am I doing it wrong? I actually don't know. As I say, the game is quite complicated, so let's actually just see whether I can maybe do this. Let's do that. No, I'm not able to. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe I can move a little bit forward. Maybe I could use some smoke. Maybe smoke would be useful, but maybe they're not going to be able to see me from here. That's the question. Maybe they won't be able to see me from here. It doesn't seem like they can actually see me right now, so maybe I can... Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll actually get pretty lucky here. We could move into the forest here so that we actually stop getting shot at. That might be an idea. There we go. A messenger from Wilson's platoon hurries over to your command post. Captain, the busted up tanks. Wilson says they're still wounded in them, he blurts out. Alright, so basically you can forego the details or listen close. I'm going to listen close. The messenger lays it all out for you. As expected, it isn't pretty. The wounded are dying, but the fight isn't over. Okay, so now you have another decision to make. As I say, very much focused on leadership. It's focused on the decisions that you're going to make in these particular circumstances that you are placed in. So, ignore the wounded, continue the attack. Add a secondary objective for the men. Or, squad suffers heavy suppression. Some positive morale events are unlocked. So, I'm going to say, let's rescue. It's a hell of a thing to ask a man to step into the line of fire for a guy he doesn't know, Grant says. But they'll try if you give the order, Captain. Alright, so now we just have to rescue the tankers, which is literally right next to us right here. So that's actually quite nice. And now if I can just move over here. Yeah, we're gonna move both of them. Thank you very much. And then we can maybe rally. There we go. We're gonna get their morale back up. And then these guys might be able to do something as well. We're going to have to be a little bit careful here as well, because I'm worried about this group over here. They might try to ambush us, but if they do, we'll be prepared. We'll be somewhat ready for them at least. Okay, next turn. Snow, mud, and the enemy. The usual. The attack continues despite German resistance. Okay, so now we can rescue these guys. Can I actually take this yet? No, it doesn't seem like it. Is there going to be any opportunity attack? I don't think so. We might be able to use smoke though. Let's actually use smoke. Let's use smoke over here. There we go. Not sure if that's going to... Is that going to damage me? I hope that's not going to damage me actually. Let's just move over there anyway. There we go. Positive events unlocked. As planned, your men move past the burning Shermans and reach the wounded soldiers. After a long minute in the open, exposed on two sides, they secure the wounded. There we go. Wounded rescued. And now we are going to be exposed a little bit here, unfortunately. However, hopefully that's not going to make any difference, or not too much difference, because we are now going to have the opportunity, maybe, just maybe... Oh, wait a minute. I can actually attack them? No, I can attack them, but this is not going to work out too well for us, as you can see. I can use my mortar, though, on them, so I am going to do that. Or shall we say our artillery, it's not technically a mortar. And we are then going to be using rally here as well. Listen up! There we go, just going to rally us a little bit here. And then we can actually move Dearborn up. Maybe we can... do you think we can actually sneak up on those guys? We might be able to sneak up on the other people, or we could just leave him over there. I'm actually not entirely sure whether we want to. Yeah, we do have a bit of a height disadvantage, unfortunately, as a result. So this is going to be somewhat problematic. But we might be able to get there. That's the thing. We might be able to get there if we can... You know what? Should I just go for it? It's gonna get ugly. Yeah, this is gonna get ugly. Okay, we might be... Wait a minute. We might be able to get over there if we can. Yeah, maybe. I mean, here's the thing, right? Oh, okay. Oh, Lieutenant Wilson's out of action. Oh, we got flanked and murdered right there. All right. Wow, he's out of there. He's out of there. I gotta say, one thing, by the way. I played this literally just before I started the recording, and I did not have this happen. This was completely different from before. So I'm going to assume that there's a semblance of randomness to the scenario, which I gotta say, that is fantastic. Even though I've lost someone right now, that is still a fantastic thing. Anyway, a screaming shriek fills the air and sends a corkscrew of terror up your spine. Incoming. All right, so we have some tanks actually incoming, and as you can see, the 105 millimeter is about to come in here. Hopefully it is going to destroy these guys or try to clear them out a little bit. If we're lucky. Yep, there it is. There it is. It's coming. It's bombarding them a little bit. Hopefully it's going to actually do something. I would be very, very appreciative if it actually does. And yeah, there we go. Okay, it seems to have completed its work. Okay, now we might be able to take this. Highly unlikely, actually. Yeah, it's looking not so good, actually. It's looking pretty bad, actually, right now. So I'm not entirely sure how we can do this. Maybe we can actually attack here. Yeah, that's not going to work. We might be able to go over here and help them out a little bit. Alright, so we've actually uncovered some additional forces in the forest here with Lieutenant Dearborn, and hopefully we're going to be able to attack them, maybe. Unfortunately, we do have a bit of a smoke situation going on here. Maybe we can rally our people, and we might be able to do something after that. No, it looks pretty bad, actually. It looks pretty bad. Maybe we can do a little bit of bolstering here. We might be able to have something work here. Yep, there we go. There we go. We're doing some good damage. Hopefully, we're going to be able to do some good damage. And who knows? Maybe we'll be okay. Maybe we'll be okay. This is pretty harsh, though. More rockets. The Germans are not holding back. The radio crackles. Wilson and Dearborn compete for bandwidth, but you already know what they'll say. If we push, they might hit us before we can brace. First Sergeant Grant says aloud because someone has to. But if we fall back into the forest, then we'll just have to do all this again, do all this over again tomorrow. It's a shit deal either way, but thank God we already rescued the tankers. What's the call, Captain? All right, well, I'm gonna say Wilson will want to regroup. Wilson was once a sergeant. He wants to look after his men. Indeed, he says precisely that the moment you pick up the handset. There's no point in slugging things out over nothing, he calls out over the radio. That pretty tank of theirs will throw a tread, run out of gas, or get yanked elsewhere soon enough. We don't need to send our boys out now, just wait a bit. Alright, we have to fall back. The order goes out, the men prepare to withdraw. The enemy prepares to pursue. And there it is. Okay, so we did manage to get a major victory in regards to getting very light casualties, and we also had a minor victory in regards to the mission. Now, funnily enough, as I said to you before, I did play the mission previously, and I actually achieved a major victory in both categories. Now, the main reason why I was able to do that is because I took the objective, the one that was currently held by the heavy machine gunners. I took that with very minimal issues. I actually went all the way around the side, had no problems whatsoever getting there, but this time around, they were actually inside the building, and they shot at us with their heavy machine gun, and that did a massive amount of damage. So, as you can see, thankfully enough, Lieutenant Wilson only has a minor wound. And so, as a result, he's ready to come back. He's ready to come back at some point in the future, which is very, very cool. Anyway, your men may live or die because of your order. That is the burden of command. And indeed, there you go. That's the end of this particular scenario. Thanks for playing our demo. The full game contains even more. If you have not already tried the other demo scenario, Sacred Ground, consider playing it. It's a short and sweet scenario that commences when the Germans utilize a graveyard to slow the American advance through France. And so, yeah, indeed. I am very open to playing that. If you want to see that, by all means, let me know. And if you don't, or if you're just wanting to wishlist the game, there is a link in the description. I'd highly recommend following it on Steam as well, or, following them on Twitter or any of those social media platforms for any updates in regards to the game's development. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.